Good morning. Happy Tuesday. It's time to get real. Are you ready? So today we are talking about leadership, being a leader or a follower. And this was inspired by the book Think and Grow Rich that I am reading right now, that I think I started reading in February. No, not February, in November, and it is now the middle of December. And I'm not even halfway through. It is a tough, long read. Things I have to read twice, and it's really almost an educational as well as motivational book. And so I'm taking my time with it. And to yesterday, I think I read um, a portion about leadership. All right, and then it was the major attributes of leadership, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. Um, Now, for me, when I was a Weight Watcher leader, that was right in my title. Okay. I've coached or led many group classes. I have done seminars and speaking engagements where I have led the group. I have been the leader of projects and events. But really, what I'm talking about today is more the leadership of your own life. Are you leading your life or are you following your life? And because here's the thing, you might not aspire to lead a group of people, okay? But you are in charge of your life. You are in charge of making things happen in your life. And let's take that a step further. Maybe you're in charge or leading your children or your family or your parents or your friends. Maybe you're the leader of your friend group. If you throw a birthday party for your kid, you are the leader of that birthday party. If you are in charge of, I don't know, I can't think of anything else right now, but you are the leader in some aspect, in some form of your life and maybe even of the people around you. So even if you're not seeking to be in a leadership role, so to speak, in terms of business, um, I'm talking about being the leader of your own life. And so I looked up the definition of course, leadership. According to the idea of transformational leadership, an effective leader, now effective is a key word there, is a person who does the following: creates an inspiring vision of the future. How many times have I told you to visualize your future? Motivates and inspires people to engage that vision. Okay, take action. Manages delivery of the vision, gets results. So, being the leader of your own life, you have to inspire a vision of the future. What do you want out of your life? What do you want your real life, your relationships, eating and exercise, achieving and loving yourself to look like? How are you going to motivate yourself to engage that vision, believe it, to have the desire for it, to focus on it, maybe even obsess over it? And how are you going to manage to bring that vision to fruition, to deliver what it is that you see in your head? And so I want to read you a couple of things and then talk about some of the aspects of good leadership. Now, first it says, decide at the onset whether you intend to become a leader in your chosen calling or remain a follower. And again, some of us are just following along in our own life. I don't know what I'm doing today. I don't know what the plan is. I don't know where I got to be. I don't know what I got to do. This happened to me, so I got to go with it. They brought me the food, so I had to eat it. Like, you're following there. You're not taking any leadership or maybe even any ownership of what it is that you are doing, okay? A follower cannot reasonably expect the compensation to which a leader is entitled. And so let's think about that. And I always use the example of weight loss, but if you are leading your weight loss, all right, if you are taking charge, if you are seeing it and motivating yourself and getting the results because of the action that you take. That's a leader. You're being a leader in that aspect of your life, of your weight loss or weight maintenance or good health. Okay. Now, if you're a follower in that, if you're just like, well, I don't know what I'm having for dinner. Everybody else is going to the restaurant and they're all ordering, chicken fingers and fries and appetizers and desserts and drinks, and they're doing it, so I'm going to do it. Or I've always done it that way. That's you being a follower. And you can't expect the same results being that follower in that situation as you would being the leader in that situation. All right. Again, knowing what you want and going out to get it. There is no disgrace to being a follower. On the other hand, there is no credit to remain a follower. So if that's what you want to do, if you want to stay at the weight you're at, if you want to stay in the life that you're at, if you want to, be mediocre, if you will, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. I lived that life for a really long time, kind of just going through the motions, being stalled. However, there is no credit there either. And so, you get that saying, you get what you give. All right. So if you're not giving anything, if you're not taking charge and being a leader, you're not going to get those results, and you can't expect to. Okay. So the major attributes of leadership: unwavering courage. No follower wishes to be dominated by a leader who lacks self-confidence and courage. And remember, as I go through this, apply this to yourself, being the leader of your own life, of your own destiny, as cheesy, as cliche as that sounds, but being the leader in your real life, not just following along with what you've always done or with what everybody else is doing. You have to have unwavering courage, and you can't lack self-confidence, and you can't lack courage, to take risks or to take chances or to do something you've never done or to do it even if it's scary. Okay. Self-control you have to have. People who cannot control themselves can never control others. And okay, so if you don't have, let's just talk about being a role model for a second. If you're an overeater and you're not doing what you need to do in order to get to a healthy weight and maintain it, and can you expect your kids to do that? If you can't even do it yourself, if you can't control yourself enough to do that, even if it's after everybody goes to bed and you think nobody's looking or whatever, why do you expect that of your children? They're going to do what you do. So if you have no self-control, you can't expect to control others. And I'm not saying control like dominate, but control like lead and inspire. A major attribute of a leader is a keen sense of justice. Without a sense of fairness and justice, no leader can command or retain the respect of his or her followers. Apply that to yourself. Do you respect yourself for the things that you do sometimes? The answer is probably no. Maybe sometimes yes, but there are a lot of times it's no as well. Definiteness of decision. People who waver in decisions show that they are not sure of themselves. How many times have you said, I'm going to do this, and you don't do it? I'm going to make this happen. No, I don't know. I just didn't do it. You have to decide, and you have to be definite, and you have to follow through. Another major attribute of leadership: the habit of doing more than paid for. The thing that I immediately thought of when I read that was do that one more rep. Okay, do that one more sit up, that one more jumping jack, that one more minute on the bike, the one more, the quarter more mile on your run, whatever. But it says one of the penalties of leadership is the necessity of willingness upon the part of the leaders to do more than they are required to do more than they require of their followers. So you have to be the one that goes the extra mile. Both my daughters, they do a lot of group projects for school, and it's virtually right now, but they still are doing these group projects, and they both have expressed concern about the people in the group not doing their part. They were supposed to do this and they didn't do it. And then I did my part. I said, so do their part too. What? That's not my job. That was their job. I said, so you're the one that's going to benefit from doing that. Always be the one that does more. Always be the one that does it. Always, because People are going to see that. They're going to notice that. And you're going to be the one that learns from that and benefits from that in the long run. So always be the one to do it. To be a good leader, you need to have a pleasing personality. This was one I liked. No slovenly, careless person can become a successful leader. If you, I'm sorry, but if you are lazing around in your sweats and your house is a disaster and you're just kind of like in a blah or bad mood all the time, how can you expect to inspire yourself, let alone others, to do anything that is going to get you closer to this real life that you're after? Leadership calls for respect. Followers will not respect leaders who do not score highly in all factors of a pleasing personality. Again, this was written a long time ago, but do you understand what they're saying there? You want to be kind, you want to be nice, you want to be pleasant. Nobody wants to be around somebody. Nobody wants to listen to somebody. You don't want to listen to yourself when you're being negative all the time. Another major attribute of leadership, mastery of detail. Successful leadership calls for mastery of details of the leader's position. You have to cross your T's and dot your I's, or dot your I's and cross your T's. You can't do it half-ass. It doesn't work. Willingness to assume full responsibility. This one, for me, I think is the biggest, most important, the biggest determinant of whether you will be successful or not successful, is if you are willing to assume full responsibility, okay? Successful leaders must be willing to assume responsibility for the mistakes and shortcomings of their followers, but really of themselves, if you were talking about leading ourselves. If they try to shift this responsibility, well, it's Friday night and we always go out for drinks. You can still go out for drinks, but it doesn't mean that you have to have like 10, you know? If they try to shift this responsibility, they will not remain leaders. If followers make mistakes and become incompetent, it is the leader who has failed. That's what it is. And then lastly, the last major attribute of leadership is cooperation. Successful leaders must understand and apply the principle of cooperative effort and be able to induce followers to do the same. Leadership calls for power and power calls for cooperation. You have to be powerful. You have to make a decision. You have to, and then you have to cooperate yourself with that decision, okay? Two forms of leadership. There is leadership by force, all right, without the consent and sympathy of the followers, which, okay, so let's apply that to what we're talking about, being a leader of ourselves. Leadership by force, that is how we try to achieve all of our goals. And again, especially this whole weight loss thing, this whole weight maintenance thing, we try to force ourselves. I'm never going to do this, and I'm always going to do this. I'm going to follow this plan strictly. And if I don't, I'm in trouble and I'm a bad person. You're trying to lead that change, that metamorphosis of your body by force. Nobody respects that, and it's not going to work for very long. It'll work short term, but eventually it's going to be too much. You're going to wash your hands of it and give up. Instead, you might want to do leadership by consent, okay? It is the most effective. Leadership by consent of and with the sympathy of the followers. You want to lose weight? Yes. I consent to you doing that. Yes, that is what I want. Yes, I elect you to do that. Yes, you are in charge of that. How do we do that? Okay, remember, we motivate, we have a plan, we follow through. We use these attributes of leadership: unwavering courage, self-control, a keen sense of justice, definiteness of decision, the habit of doing more than paid, definiteness of plans, a pleasing personality, sympathy and understanding, mastery of detail, willingness to assume full responsibility, and cooperation. That's how we get it done, people. Okay, so leadership by consent of the followers is the only brand that can endure. You can't force yourself to do something. You have to consent, give into the fact that this is what you want, and you're willing to do what it takes to get it. So be the leader of your own life, all right? Be the leader of your own destiny, if you will. Because you are either way. You are either way. Okay? You're going to lead yourself to something great or just kind of follow yourself into something mediocre. But either way, you made that choice. All right, guys. Go out and have a great day. I will see you tomorrow. Peace.